Alright guys, here's my Honeybee King 2 as it is right this moment. I'm doing a full rebuild on it. All my screws and parts and yada yada yada. Alright, I had some damages and a crash that I unfortunately didn't get on tape. My head, I've done some different stuff to this head here. I'm using the plastic again, except for I've got the metal button and I'm using a metal swash plate. So I'm back with stock on that for now because I stripped out my control arm screw right here. This piece that goes on the top of the head on the fly bar is the pitch control arm. The pitch control arm screw, not right here, not the screw itself. The screw's probably right there. Right there. Not the screw itself, but the aluminum piece in the shaft that holds the fly bar, that allows the fly bar arms to tilt and allows this to control pitch on it. The screw actually stripped out of that in my crash. Lost them both in the field. Found them, but it was an amazing find. But when I went to reassemble everything, I find out that the aluminum head has separated. And a word of advice: if you ever have a problem with a small piece of this aluminum setup, like just one of these control arms breaks or something happens to one of these pieces, go ahead and spring to get a whole kit. They're about $10 more. You spend about $25 or $30 to get just the pieces that you wanted to repair. You had to buy the whole little kit that holds just those little pieces, and if you spend about $5 or $10 more, you can get a full head swash plate, washout base, rotor clamps, tail rotors, rotor clamps, the whole kit. Just look for it on eBay. You can find it. Good price. That's what I did. Might as well get some spares because you'll probably crash it. As I did. I'm back to my plastic here. But I found a number of issues with the tail. That's what actually caused the crash. Is the tail servo. Well, the servo itself was fine. The linkage, I believe, just bound up and wasn't able to. I wasn't able to correct my tail, my orientation, and it took me down because I couldn't figure out where I was facing. I also had my servo clamps here. See here, got my little homemade redneck servo clamp. Just tighten these screws, clamp it down. It's made of wood. Servo screws in right there. I've already got it pre-measured, so it lines up perfectly. Actually lines up better than the stock clamps, which are right here. You see these stock clamps actually hold it right in the middle. They clamp in the middle of the pole. You actually need this offset a little bit towards the back, like I have right here. You see, if you look at it, it's actually offset towards the back instead of hanging off the middle. That gives it better positioning so you can move your the hole on the servo horn. You can move it further out and get more play on this linkage here, which will aid in your tail movement. But let's see here. Here are my problems I've found for you, and I'll try to address them quickly so I can get this video posted all in one piece. Alright, so as we all know, this bell slider, the tail control arm, binds, won't stick. It has some problems. It does what it wants to do, whatever. Alright, well, first off, a lot of people actually replace the slider itself because these screws are stationary. They don't want to move in and out with these balls here as it moves in and out. Well, if you look what I've done here, I just took the obviously I showed you that I had recessed the heads on the back of this, so the heads don't stick out when you look at them sideways like this. Try to get this in focus for you guys. But the other thing that's essential for you to do is take you a drill bit. I got a pin vise. Find the right size drill bit and drill diagonally so that these things can go in on themselves like this right here. That's important because they close in on themselves like this. Alright. The further you adjust your pitch, the more they want to close in on themselves. And if you don't allow for that inward motion, it stops. It'll stop right there. Boom. and then it fights to get any further closed. See how they actually move? But I've got them tight. You have to actually drill out so that the screw itself will pivot in that direction. You see that, guys? There you go. That's good focus for you guys. Alright, that's number one. See, my tail slider actually doesn't go all the way to the bottom, but it goes pretty damn close, and it goes all the way to the top. So that's, and now another reason it binds here is, look here at the bottom. Alright, you see where this pitch slider actually links into this slide mechanism right here. Alright, right here, this little pin. Alright, well it's in a hole. The other side is in a fork. Alright, well, let's see if I can get this close enough and in focus for you guys to see this. When I move this pitch slider, watch see it come out of the fork in a U-shaped pattern. Right here, it's getting real close to the inside of the fork. It'll bind because it actually hits the inside of the fork, and then to push past it, it has to fight. And the same way going this way, it'll stop right there because it hits the inside of the fork. See, it moves away from the fork as you get down to the bottom. Alright, well, take that fork off and hone it out a little bit, make it a little bit deeper, and give you a little bit more play, so it will go in and out, and it won't bottom out inside that, and that'll keep it from binding. It'll bind right there. Boom. So, alright, that's another thing you need to do. One more thing, if you've got this aluminum head upgrade, I don't think it's necessary for the plastic head, but you see that screw right there? That screw right on the tip. Right there. That bell slider. Get it out in focus for you. That bell slider will hit that screw when it tries to go inside. So you're going to have to cut the bell slider. Made a little carving just to see if I can get it on in focus. You can see I just cut just enough for that screw not to connect, so it actually bottoms out now. Alright, so that's 3 modifications I've had to make so far to get full motion. And the last modification I'm going to have to make is, if you can see, my main shaft actually has too much play right here. Let's see if I can show you a pretty good little chunk of play. That's enough that it's going to throw me off enough to make my tail wobble a little bit back and forth right there. Alright, so that's something else that needs to be addressed and fixed. Alright, which all that requires, I take this side off right here and put another washer between this bearing and this end right here, so it's pulled out in this direction more. Alright, and another thing I found problem with is my main gear would not mesh with my brushless motor, mostly because of the design of this chassis part right here. Let me set this where I can use my hand. This piece right here, right where it hits the motor, didn't allow the motor to slide back far enough in towards this main shaft to contact with the main gear. So what I did is I compromised. It's very hard to see, but I ground a little bit round right inside here, right on the inside of the frame, just on this part, not down here on the motor mount. You don't want to weaken, it's already thin enough. And I also ground a little bit off my motor. That's the inside, that's where it hits, slides this way. Make sure, because you know this 3900 kilovolt here, it's got 2 sets of holes. They're differently spaced. These are farther apart than these right here, so when you do it, you want to make sure the ones that are closer together are the ones you're going to be using. Hence, I could either have it with the wires this way, which would require me carving part of my frame out, which I don't want to do, or I could turn it around and have the wires facing front and coil it around towards the rear like that, which is what I chose to do.